Hey everybody, it's me, Sora the Hero 2 from Phantom Games here with another video. So today we are testing the Max and Golden Chrysler ME412. This is during its trial series and I hope you enjoy these races. Now, before I begin, I would like to say a few things. One, I actually really enjoyed this car. When I first saw it being added in the update, I saw its max stats and saw its acceleration of only 74 at max, and I fully thought, well, this is now going to be a terrible S-Class car because by the time you get to your top speed, everybody else is already halfway down the race. I was actually proven wrong, as this car actually does really good in all its other stats. Its top speed is just under 400 kilometers per hour with an acceleration stat of 74.90, handling 66.52, and nitro of 63.39. Its drifting radius is actually super good. I would suggest that it's more like the Lycan's drifting radius than any other. Its drifting does not lose a lot of speed, and its handling is also very good, not stiff. It's really smooth actually. And as we come across this final turn, I tried to do a punch drift there, but then I realized that this car's drifting radius is actually very sharp. This was the first race with this car. Now we move on to our second race, which is at Auckland, which, as we all know, is a technical track and sometimes very twisty, which I was very happy to see because then it means, oh, I can test how this car does around corners while it has terrible acceleration. But then I stumbled across something interesting right here. I hit the wall, and so I bounced in the air, and as I'm driving, I did a flat spin on this wall, hit that wall, bounced off, and then I was like, wow, this car actually has very good catch-up power, referring to when you're falling behind and then you use someone else's slipstream and use it to catch up. Since all these cars in this trial series are slower than the Chrysler, it can easily catch up. But not just that, if it was very stiff, then it would lose speed very fast. But it's not stiff and it's really smooth. And now as we're approaching these final turns on this, I'm using all of these other people's slipstreams to catch up, and I'm now in the top 3 leaders. And since I'm faster than all these cars, I am able to get a shockwave and pull ahead right at the very end. I was very blown away by this when I realized that the Chrysler is not a trash car. I just think it's in the wrong class. Here's why. The car I would relate the Chrysler ME412 to is actually the McLaren F1 LM. The McLaren F1 LM shares almost the exact same acceleration stat of 74, but it also has fake positive acceleration, meaning that the acceleration stat is actually higher than it shows. The McLaren F1 LM speed is actually very close to the Chrysler, as it is only a few miles per hour slower than it. Both of these cars have around the same acceleration, handling, and nitro efficiency, with the McLaren F1's nitro efficiency being just a little bit better. For some clarification, here are the two cars when at max compared. The Chrysler has a better top speed and acceleration and a better drift radius, but slightly worse nitro efficiency. When saying that, I think if the Chrysler was put in Class B, then it would have been a competitor to the McLaren F1 LM, as if they were both like the two opposing kings, because both cars are very, very, very identical in all their aspects. But because the Chrysler is in Class S, it gets completely demolished by all other Class S cars. It can probably beat the Centurio and the FXXK, but against the Icona and the Lycan, I don't think it can manage a win unless it's in Slipstream. Now, on the topic of Slipstream, as I am a free-to-play player, I wouldn't know how good this car does in a regular multiplayer race at max, because I will not be getting this car since I don't have the previous Legend Pass car. But not just that, I also don't have many of the required cars, as like the Carrera GT and a few others. In these races though, since it is Slipstream, I am able to beat almost all of these other really good A-class cars that have much better acceleration, such as the Tech Rules, the Aston Martin Victor, and the Porsche Carrera GT. Because even though those cars have much faster acceleration than mine, since there is Slipstream, I'm able to easily just follow behind them, catch up, and then boom away, since this car is also much faster than all of them. The only car that is maybe the closest top speed is the Aston Martin Victor. And I don't know if I'll be making a video about the Aston Martin Victor or the tech rules because I really enjoyed driving this car. I've seen lots of people say that this is like one of the worst Class S cars in the game, but I don't think it's a terrible car. I think it's just in the wrong class. Now, I really hope Gameloft doesn't do any of the class rank changing like they did in Asphalt 8, but if they could do one car, I think this would be the only car I would ask for them to change its class. Now, as we are on our last race at Rome, I would like to say what I generally think about the Chrysler ME412. The Chrysler ME412 is a very underrated Class S car because most people saw and instantly regretted it being added because of its terrible acceleration, very low top speed at max, average nitro efficiency, and handling. But I think this thing is what I would call an underrated or hidden gem in the mess. Because the ME412 is not a terrible car, it's just in the wrong class, in my opinion. Now, Gameloft probably has their own reasons for putting this in Class S. Maybe it's a joke, maybe it's not, I'm not sure. But I think it's just in the wrong class because, and most people would probably agree, that if this was in B class, it would be an absolute beast and probably the competitor to the McLaren F1 LM that we didn't get. The Pagani Huayra R was supposed to be the competitor, but since it has terrible drifting speed, it really didn't stand much of a chance against the McLaren F1 LM. The ME412 has really good drifting speed, and since they both have around the same acceleration, would be a great competitor in B class against the McLaren F1 LM. Now, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed these races. Please sure to like and subscribe if you want, and God bless you all.